Chapter 21. The Map That Breathes. The tether did not glow that morning. Elara noticed it before she even opened her eyes, the absence of warmth at her wrist, like waking to find a familiar sound gone silent. For a moment she lay still beneath the low canopy of black-leafed branches, listening to the quiet murmur of the shadow wilds breathing around them. Then she sat up. The thin band of ancient metal linking her to Kaelen looked dull, almost watchful. Tiny runes along its surface pulsed faintly, not with light, but with something deeper, like the slow rhythm of a heartbeat buried underground. Kaelen was already awake, standing at the edge of their small clearing, facing the distant ridges where pale mist clung to the valleys like spilled milk. "Something's changed," Elara said. He didn't turn. "You feel it too?" She rose, brushing dark dust from her cloak. "The tether, it feels heavier." Kaelen glanced at their linked wrists. "We're getting closer." "To the anchor?" "To the truth," he said quietly. That was not comforting. They broke camp in near silence, moving through a stretch of terrain unlike anything Elara had seen yet. The ground here was smooth and glassy, reflecting faint echoes of movements beneath its surface, as though shadows were swimming just below a frozen lake. Elara crouched, pressing her palm against it. The surface was warm. "Is this safe?" she asked. Kaelen nodded. "It's memory stone. It forms where old magic settles." "Memory of what?" He met her gaze. "Of everything." She swallowed and stood. They walked carefully, their reflections following beneath their feet, distorted shapes moving a half-second too late, as if reluctant to keep up. After a while, Elara noticed faint lines etched across the stone, long, winding grooves that intersected and branched like veins. "Paths?" she asked. Kaelen shook his head. "A map." Her pulse quickened. "Of the shadow wilds?" "Of the currents beneath it." Elara knelt again, tracing one of the grooves. As her finger followed the line, it warmed, a faint glow stirring within the stone. The line shifted. She jerked back. It moved. Kaelen crouched beside her. "It responds to intent." She frowned. "Like light gilding." He studied her. "Try again." Elara hesitated, then placed her hand flat against the surface, closing her eyes. She thought of the sinking city, of the pull she had felt in her bones since leaving Apelgard, of the invisible weight dragging everything downward. The stone pulsed. Lines lit up across the glassy expanse, flowing like liquid silver, converging toward a distant point deep within the map. Elara gasped. "That must be the anchor." Kaelen watched, expression unreadable. "Yes." But something else caught her attention, branching lines extending upward, toward the sky, toward Apelgard. Her stomach tightened. "Why are there connections to the city?" she whispered. Kaelen didn't answer immediately. Finally, he said, "Because the anchor is not just below." Elara looked at him sharply. "What do you mean?" He pointed to the glowing network. "It's a system, a balance." Her mind raced. "Like foundations?" "Yes. And if one part is pulled too hard, the whole structure shifts," he said. Elara stared at the map, dread creeping through her. "How long has this been happening?" Kaelen's voice was low. "Longer than anyone remembers." As they continued across the memory stone, the air grew thicker, charged with the quiet tension that made Elara's skin prickle. At the far edge of the glassy field stood a structure, or what might have once been one. Jagged arches of dark crystal rose from the ground like the ribs of some colossal creature. Between them hung threads of faint, drifting luminescence, remnants of spells long unraveled. "What is this place?" Elara asked. Kaelen slowed. An old observatory. For watching what? The flow of magic, before the divide. Divide? She frowned. He gestured around them, before sky and shadow stopped speaking. Elara stepped beneath one of the arches. The air hummed softly, and for an instant she felt as though countless unseen eyes were studying her, not with hostility, but with quiet curiosity. In the center of the ruin stood a circular platform carved with intricate sigils, and at its heart, a pedestal, empty. Elara approached slowly. Something was here. Kaelen nodded. An instrument used to measure the balance. Measure what exactly? He looked at her. Really looked. Light and shadow. Her breath caught. Elara placed her hand on the pedestal. The moment her skin touched the stone, a ripple spread outward across the platform. Faint images flickered in the air, ghost-like projections forming and dissolving like reflections on water. She saw a city in the sky, radiant, newly risen. Below it, a thriving land bathed in twilight, rivers glowing faintly with silver light. And between them, threads, thousands of delicate strands connecting sky and earth like the roots of an inverted tree. Elara leaned closer. Then the image shifted. The threads dimmed. Some snapped. The city rose higher, brighter. The world below darkened. Her heart pounded. This can't be. Kaelen's voice was quiet behind her. It is. Elara turned slowly. Our light gilding, it's pulling energy from here. Yes. For centuries? She whispered. He nodded once. Her knees felt weak. We were told the city floats because of solar resonance, atmospheric binding. Kaelen's expression held no accusation, only weariness. Stories people tell when they don't want to ask difficult questions. Elara looked back at the fading visions, a cold realization settling in her chest. If this continues, the shadow wilds will collapse. And the city will eventually fall anyway, because imbalance never lasts. A soft tremor passed through the ground. Elara stiffened. Did you feel? The memory stone darkened. The glowing lines of the map flickered erratically. Kaelen's head snapped toward the horizon. They're here. Who? He didn't answer. Instead, he stepped forward, placing his hand over the map. Shadows gathered around his fingers, flowing outward like ink in water, stabilizing the trembling lines. Elara followed his gaze. In the distance, far beyond the crystal arches, faint shapes moved across the landscape. Glints of pale light, too precise to be natural. Her breath caught. Skycraft, Aethelgard's scouts. They found me, she whispered. Kaelen's jaw tightened, but he said nothing. Inside Elara, two currents collided, relief and dread. Home had come looking, but standing beside Kaelen, watching the fragile map of balance flicker beneath their hands, for the first time, she wasn't sure rescue was what she wanted. Behind them, the tether pulsed, not painfully, but with a slow, steady rhythm, like a warning or a countdown.